Hello, guys. Welcome back to the Actors Take podcast. I am your host, Yak, and we're gonna get into just one topic today. There's been some things happening as of late, but I want to talk about this whole Jussie Smollett. Jussie Smollett. I'm so tempted to call him Juicy. So he's recently been, as we all know, he's been found guilty of the hoax that he pretty much set up. I think 2 years ago, something like that, a year or two, and he's just getting floored with jokes.
To that French actor. You know what I'm talking about? Jussie Smollett. He's a very famous French actor.
It's too cold.
Yeah, man, neo-racists don't be watching Empire, man. It's too cold. They said we be racist in the spring.
And just it's not looking good for him. It's not looking good for him at all. But that begs the question: what is to happen of Jussie Smollett as an actor? Is his career over? Should he act? Is he going to be getting any projects? Is he going to get any kind of respect anywhere? You know what I'm saying? And there's been some people saying too that he's sort of set us back progressively as far as like civil rights is concerned and stuff like that. He sort of kind of just set us back maybe 5 steps. Maybe 3 steps. You know what I mean? Because at the end of the day, even though there are things that are still happening with folks and stuff like that, there is tangible evidence that these people can actually show that, hey, this happened to me. And Jussie is a case where, clearly he wasn't telling the truth. But it does cause the question if people, in the higher forms of society are going to be taking crimes like this seriously. It's kind of disheartening. Now it's obvious he wasn't telling the truth. Like, I don't think anybody, people who are in the media saying that, yeah, this is what happens to us all and stuff like that. I think the vast majority of people knew that he wasn't telling the truth. Just nothing makes sense. First of all, in the dead of winter in Chicago, dude, black people don't do this. Like, look, I'm from Chicago. Okay, we don't. If there's gonna be any kind of crime happening, it's going to be in its peak hour, probably around the summertime. Okay, black people don't just go out in the dead of cold at 2 a.m. in the morning, trying to beat up, a specific targeted celebrity. You know what I'm saying? Let alone, claiming MAGA and things like that. Like, that's not happening in Chicago. Just letting you know right now. Like, it's a very blue state out here. But this is what I wanted to do today. Because right now he's getting a lot of flack. It's causing people to question his career. And what I don't want to do is do that. What I want to do instead is something a little different. Now, this is just more of an experiment that I want to do. But I want to try and save Jussie's career. Right? It's but look, I think we can, like, I guess, to play a little devil's advocate right now, because right now it's very popular and very fun actually to make fun of Jussie. But I do think that as an actor, there are tons of people who make mistakes, and Jussie's one of them. And so I just have maybe 5 tips or so to sort of just break down what he can do if he's watching this. He's obviously not, but if he was watching this, I think it's just kind of a fun way to say, hey, if you want to save your career, this is what I think you should do. So we're going to play PR today. We're going to play PR team. So first thing I would do, if I was talking to Jussie, my first tip for him to do is to just tell the truth, dog. Just tell the truth. Like, look, there's no reason for you to just keep prolonging this lie anymore. Okay, at some point, you just have to forward. Clearly, you had the media and you had some of the fans say, yo, is this kind of what's happening? Or is this really what happened that day? You know what I mean? And so, as days went on, you going on interviews, you going on media outlets, and the more times you talk, the more you expose yourself into just somebody that was just a complete liar. And we have now official documentation of you saying that you are a liar. Too much overwhelming evidence to prove otherwise. And now the courts have deemed you guilty. So it's like, dude, just come correct. Just tell the truth, man. Like, look, most people are already over this. When you was on court, dog, nobody cared at this point. It was like, you're still dealing with this kind of stuff. And then when we came to the part of you being guilty, it was like, yeah, we already knew. You know, that just goes to show that people are willing to move on from this. Because this is like non-news, dog. Nobody cares about this shit anymore. You know, I think you should really just tell the truth. And in telling the truth, I think there's ways you can go about it that could probably help in your favor. Like, just the same way you went on this whole campaign about how you were the victim, do the same thing. Go on a whole campaign about just taking accountability. Just say, look, yeah, it was a hoax. Okay, and just explain in full, honest, transparent detail why the fuck you were thinking of what you was thinking. You know, like, what were you thinking? That's mainly what people want to know. Like, what were you thinking? And just break down where your mind process was. Like, were you on the internet too much? Did you read a book or something? What inspired you to do this thing? What was this experiment supposed to prove? You know, and just tell people this. And just own how stupid it was. Just own, like, yeah, I fucked up. You know, I tried to, just own it. Just own it, man. Now, will you get the same respect that you did back then? Probably not. But I think you would do a way better job in just telling the truth. Just tell the truth and just admit that all this stuff was a hoax, man. You do yourself a lot of favors and get on a lot of people's better graces if you just tell the truth, man. You know, and then when people start seeing you be honest on TV, and on radio and stuff like that, it's going to get people on board to forget about all this real easily. You still have a reputation, and you're still be a little infamous, but, at least you told the truth. Second thing I would do, number 2, is to just take a vacation, man. Just hibernate for like maybe 2 or 3 years. People have already took in what happened. People had already made their opinions. They made pieces on you, all this kind of stuff. At this point in time, I think it's time to just take a break. Just go on hiatus for a good 3 years. Bury your face somewhere where we can just forget about this kind of stuff. You got top comedians like Dave Chappelle giving you a whole new name. It's a funny name and it's a catchy name and it's literally being uttered amongst all of the masses. Like your name was not Jussie anymore. You know what I'm saying? You just hide your face, man. Let people just kind of like transition through this phase of yours easily and just disappear. But I would say you can still be productive in this hiatus. Work on rebranding yourself up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because as actors, we are a business. And as a business, we need good branding to market ourselves well for these casting directors and these executives and stuff. When we're being seen as somebody that's not good for business, that can affect our work. That can affect our way of booking or getting any kind of job, any kind of gig, any kind of role. Some of the things that my agent would tell me is that if I'm not booking right or if I'm not getting the certain roles that I want, I might have to do a little bit of rebranding because reputation and all that kind of stuff, it matters in this industry. And for you, Jussie, your reputation is shit right now. It just is. As an actor, people don't want to see you. People don't want to support you right now. I know you know this already, but this is just me, as the PR person would say. Nobody likes you, especially people in the black community. Like you're looking too good right now. So I would say just focus on rebranding. Try to do things that are that would put you in a much more humble light. Try to do some volunteer work over there. In Chicago, like try to just do some good works, and bear some good fruits now. And while you're still being accountable, just do some things in Chicago so you can let the city know that, look, yeah, I wasted your dollars. Yeah, I wasted your time, but I really want to get on you guys' good graces because I did embarrass y'all. But I think if you do some really good work for the city, like just some community service or some volunteer work and I mean something that is just something that you would like to do. And I know it's gonna feel a little performative, and I know what I'm saying probably sounds performative, but I think over time, people are going to start seeing what you're doing, what you're trying to prove, and at some point they are going to change face a little bit. Like the mind does things like that. Sometimes the mind goes one way where they think that you're just ain't shit, and then as they start seeing your actions and not just you spewing a bunch of dumb stuff on online and on TV, when they start actually seeing you do stuff in the papers and even in person, just like when they see you in that humble state, it just changes how people view you. They may still have that little, in the thing in the back of their mind about I don't know if you can be trusted, but at the end of the day, they can't deny your actions. Number 3, and I think this can be, I think this might actually benefit you more than you may think it does. But I would have a roasting show. There's nothing like having a televised show where you have like all of the top comedians who've already been making fun of you already. Have them all just come together and gather in one space, and you're right there in the center, and all the jokes that they've been saying behind your back, they can say it right to your face. For one, that's going to be entertaining as hell because you're pretty much a laughingstock at this point. Like image-wise, it would do you great favors because to see you, for one, in front of all of these comedians, bashing you, roasting you, saying all of these brutal jokes that we've been saying for 2 years, calling you juicy and all this kind of stuff, and just seeing your reactions. Seeing your reactions, laugh and take a joke and just kind of be cool with it and really own this moment. Dude, it's really going to change the perception. I think it can be relieving to kind of see that you have a little bit of a personality. And I also think that it'd be so entertaining. I mean, and look, we've all seen roasting shows before. Like, we all know what happens in these roasting shows. Like, you have a celebrity who's been, kind of got dragged through the mud, through the media, and then the roasting show sort of, pumps them up as this. Here's this person that's been the butt of jokes all year, and then in the end of the night, they have this little speech that just says, "Look, I've had a rough year. I've done some things." That's the whole accountability speech that you can actually do at the end of this thing. And look, it's gonna get people on your graces a little bit. You know what I mean? Because look, what we have to do right now, I actually sound like a PR person. What we have to do right now is get people to stop hating you. You can make fun of all you want. People are gonna make fun of you probably forever until the end of time. And that's fine. People still make fun of Wesley Snipes. For his tax stuff, right? But we need people to stop hating you. That's the goal right now. And if people can start seeing you in this humble light, you're taking accountability, you're trying to just get on people's good side. I think that's a strong step in the right direction. Now, the fourth thing I would do, and this is gonna take some creativity, but I think it can still work. It's going to take some risk. I think that if you decide to step back into, if you start getting roles again, I would try to keep the roles as minimal as possible. If people still don't like you, they're not going to like seeing you on TV or in movies or whatever. They're not going to want to support whatever medium that you're in. If they still hate you. But let's say you get a role somewhere because some studio really just likes your look or whatever. I would try to get your PR to look for things that are just as minimal as possible. You can dip in, dip out. Show your face, and then you're out. Right? You're out. And I would get your PR people to not make it so public. But have your PR people not make that public knowledge. Just keep it under wraps. And people won't see you until they see the show. And then it'll be a thing where it's like, oh, wait, Jussie Smollett's in here. Right? And another thing I would say is that I would try to go for specifically villain roles. I would go for the bad guy roles, because right now you're the bad guy, and there's nothing like showing a little bit of class, at least in my opinion, by just saying, you know what, since I'm the bad guy this year, let me play a bad guy role. I think it will work wonders for you if you, that's found guilty of fraud at this point, were to take on a role of a character that is guilty of fraud as well. I think that's just genius. I think that's just genius marketing. I think that's a genius play to just, show people that you really are owning what you've done. But I think it's really going to be able to show off your range in other ways too, because range, for actors is still important. The fifth and final thing, try to get into like some other fields. If showing your face on TV as an actor is not really something that people are not going to support, I would say try to get into some other stuff. Now, I know you're already a musician. I would say focus on the music. Focus on the music. But even then, try to get into some other things like writing and directing. If people don't want to look at your face anymore, because that's the thing right now, people are just tired of looking at your face. Right now, people are just tired of hearing about this shit. We're tired of hearing about MAGA people beating you up, in Chicago winters at 2 a.m. because it's just not realistic. I think it's great if you get into something where we're looking at the fruits of your talent instead of just yourself. And I think directing or writing, screenwriting and things like that, and just producing things like that are really high quality, real high quality stuff, but they're just, produced by you, could still help you. I think that can still help you. I mean, just take for example, folks like Mel Gibson. Dude gets a lot of flack, still gets a lot of flack actually for all of his antics, all of his racist antics, and all of his just inappropriate. Like, dude is just nuts. Even South Park made fun of him a couple times. Like, dude is just crazy. He has a crazy reputation. But nobody, and I don't care what nobody says, nobody can deny his knack for directing. Ever. Doesn't matter what you think about Mel Gibson. Doesn't matter what you think about what he's done in the past. You will still watch his movies because he is just an exceptional director. And that's what I mean, producing the fruits of your talent without actually having your face at the forefront. You know what I mean? Same with Woody Allen. He had allegations with him, crazy allegations. But nobody can deny his talent, as a director. Made great movies, man. I still watch his movies because I just can't deny him. Voice acting. Voice acting's a good thing. I mean, there's tons of properties that are out there where, everybody needs a voice. I think you can become a really good voice actor. And look, there are tons of cartoons, tons of characters and animated shows that I watched that I had no idea who was playing them. Samurai Jack was played by a black person. Never knew that. Philip Lamar, never knew. Who could have not? Who could have thought? I think you can really, really just rebuild yourself on this. Now, why am I coming up with these solutions? Why, Patrick? Like, why am I trying to help? And I'll say this because we're in a time now where cancel culture is sort of the popular thing to do. It's kind of trendy right now to start canceling people. I'm a person who's made mistakes. I've known people who made mistakes. And it sort of grinds my gears a little bit when actors, more specifically celebrity actors, but just actors in general, are held to this almost pedestalized standard of how to be a human being. And it's like people. I feel like people ignore the fact that we are still human beings and we still make mistakes. And I don't like where we're headed as far as seeing somebody do something crazy and vowing to never support that person ever again. Just neglecting their whole redemption journey, from what they've done. I'm a little disheartened at how, Hollywood sometimes treats these situations. Now, I'm a person that's very careful. I've made mistakes in the past, sure, but I haven't made these kind of dumb mistakes like this. And of course, with the examples that I brought up with like Mel Gibson and Woody Allen and everybody else with those serious allegations, obviously, Jussie doesn't compare to that kind of stuff. These guys have done some crazy things. So it's going to be a little bit easier for people to forgive Jussie than these guys. You know what I mean? Not comparing those two at all. But I still think the stigma is the same. Where you have an actor or a person, a public person that is proven to have done something wrong, let's say they take accountability for it, and there's no forgiveness still after. That's what I have a problem with. And I guess I was just thinking about, being on the set of Empire, you know, years ago, like maybe I was on season 2 or whatever. Being on set of Empire and being in the presence of Jussie. I never met the guy, but I was in the presence of the guy. Like he was around, and just every single person, every crew member, every cast member, even like back, everybody that was in the vicinity of that room said nothing. They said absolutely nothing but good things about Jussie. And it was just really disappointing for him to show himself capable of something like this. Because, just seeing him in person, man, it was just a different vibe. He's on TV, obviously he was like this, the very charismatic, very likable person on TV. But even in person, man, like he was just such a warm person. He was just a warm character, man. A warm human being. And to see this sort of happen to him, well, he kind of did to himself, but to see, I can foresee what's going to happen now that he's been found guilty of all this kind of stuff. And I see him not taking it well. I see his career kind of going down the drain because people are on this whole train of cancel culture. And sometimes in the midst of that cancel culture, it can really break a guy. It can really break a man. Actors, our living is sort of dependent on support. We need people to support us to keep a job. If we're in a show, if we're in a movie, and it gets no support, that movie fails. That show fails. And when he did what he did, when Jussie Smollett created this hoax thing, Empire lost its support. Specifically because they didn't want to see Jussie on TV. Now, some people still wanted to watch the show, sure. But even the studio execs, even Lee Daniels felt that he was just bad for business. Ultimately, attributing to the demise of the show. Very early on. Because whether it had like 2 or 3 more seasons in the mix of it all, they had to cut it short. Mid-season. And believe it or not, a lot of Chicago actors lost their jobs for that. Over this. And people were pissed. People were really pissed. And it's just unfortunate, man. But that being said, even though I feel like he is getting everything that he deserves right now, and it's about time we have like overwhelming evidence to prove that dude was capping. What I don't want is for him to not show his face ever again, because regardless how I feel or what everybody else feels about what he's done, I think he's still a good actor. I think he's a tremendous actor. He's had a really good career. What you guys need to understand is that for an actor, if one actor does something stupid and his career is just completely over 100% because of that one action, that's going to trickle down to other people who are in this industry. That's going to trickle down to other actors who made mistakes. And that's why I love redemption stories like Robert Downey Jr., who was just a complete fuck up. Did a bunch of dumb stuff. And look at him now. We can despise a person for a long time, for a good amount of time, but to just reject everything else that they produced just because of some stupid mistake, especially if they're if they're trying to show responsibility for it, if they're trying to take responsibility for all this and just want to move on with their lives, I think it's fair if we help them do the same. So that's just my take on it. These are my 5 tips. Hopefully, if he's watching this, and he's not, but if he ever catches this video and this PR people catch this video and they take some of my ideas, pay me a cut. What do you guys think? Do you guys think this guy deserves redemption? Do you guys think he should be in any more shows or movies? Because I know right now it's fun to make fun of him, but do you guys think he should just keep a career, or do you think he should start working at Walmart? Let me guys know in the comments. We can have the conversation. But that's all I have today. If you guys like this video, you all know what to do. Hit the like button. And if you love this video, if you love my thoughts on this thing, hit subscribe. Hit the notifications too. Don't forget those things, because y'all don't be hitting those notifications. And you guys let me know your thoughts. All right. So you guys take care.